Okay, so we're going right straight into the meat of the day. And as we know, the topic for today is the AI revolution, harnessing analytics to drive growth in 2025. Now, we all know that AI and analytics are transforming industries, transforming trends, changing the way we think and we do things. It is huge. It is huge. And to be honest, there's a lot of information out there. We sometimes, or most of the time, to be honest, we struggle to process exactly what it is that is useful to me, useful to us. It's just amazing how much impact AI has right now. Like, even in your everyday life, you can apply AI. In your work, you can apply it in anything, even in the government. I'm sure they apply it somehow. They probably just don't tell us, So it is really, I would say, has come to stay. So what role do we have to play? How can we harness this new trend to the best of our abilities? How can we harness it to upskill ourselves, to improve our productivity and just ensure that we just grow and we do well in everything that we find ourselves? And to give us some direction and insights into this topic that we have chosen for today is no other person than Nadine Thompson, our special guest and our speaker for today. Nadine is a seasoned research data scientist, economist, and a risk management professional with over 15 years of diverse experience. She's worked with banks in Canada, she's worked in banks in Jamaica, and she's also worked with the IMF. It's very impressive. And during her time at the Bank of Jamaica, she worked with the International Economics Department and the Market Operations and Analysis Department. She contributed to policy development, research efforts, and she was seconded to the IMF for all the work that she did, and that experience has really broadened her expertise. She's currently serving with RBC at the global markets, and she's known to pioneer and to introduce, development of innovative technology solutions that will definitely enhance research, risk modeling, and taking the bank in the path that they want to go. And like, there's so much I can say about her, but I mean, I would never stop. But outside of work and all these serious things I've just said, she likes to travel, she likes to read, and she definitely enjoys time with community, time with her family, and anytime she has to, contribute and share her knowledge. And for that reason, please allow me to introduce Nadine Thompson. Round of applause and reactions for her.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Adanma.
Yes.
And Wendy. Well, thank you for the introduction, Adanma. And thank you very much, Wendy, for the invitation to share with your community. So good evening, everyone. I hope your evening is going well so far. And so, as Adanma shared, the topic that we'll be discussing today is how we can harness analytics to drive growth in light of the AI revolution that we are experiencing. I think it's a very exciting time to be alive, to not just only be on the receiving end of the innovations that we are seeing, but also to be contributors to this change. And so I'm going to share my screen, and you can let me know once you're seeing it. First, let me go into share, and let me put it in presentation mode. What are you seeing?
We can see your screen right there.
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes.
Okay.
Full screen.
The full screen. And I'm using a wide screen, so a very wide screen. So my apologies if it seems a little small for some people. Okay, so, and you're not seeing my, like, the presentation, what I call it, the
PowerPoint? No.
Awesome.
Yes.
So in terms of the format of today's presentation, we're gonna, well, first explore artificial intelligence, what it is. I guess everybody already knows, but just for context, of the discussion, we're gonna explore it. We're gonna also look at what is analytics, and look at also how companies are leveraging AI for growth today. and how can we prepare ourselves? So one of my motivation for doing the AI, so I recently completed a master's in AI. And in addition to the fact that I saw the opportunity to upskill so that I can contribute, I recognize that within our community, not everyone has that opportunity to go to school and upskill. And so I use that as the opportunity to learn so that I can come and I can impart. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really happy to be here to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, on this very important topic that is impacting our community. And I hope that what is shared this evening, you will gain something from it, and you will not only keep it to yourself, but you'll take it and share it with the rest of people within our community so that we can empower each other. All right, so what is AI? So, well, it's all about systems, trying to mimic human intelligence. And when we talk about the human intelligence process, we're talking about our learning ability or reasoning ability, and also self-correction, because that's how we grow. We grow from learning, we do the whole reflection, we do reasoning, and then we self-correct. And so the technology, AI is actually considered the fourth industrial revolution. And so we see where it's driving a lot of different industries, from healthcare to the financial services industry. A lot of changes are happening within these industries, across different industries, as companies seek to leverage AI for growth. And what I must highlight that the growth that we're focusing on here, it's like companies and individuals, but there's also opportunities for our personal growth. So we can look at how can we leverage AI for our personal growth as well. So we have deep learning, which is also a subset of machine learning. And one thing you'll see in a diagram that I show later on, you hear people talk about AI and machine learning. Machine learning is not different from AI. It's just a subset of AI. So that's very important to know. So you have deep learning. So that's more the advanced version of machine learning, where you're using neural networks. So what the objective of this like algorithms, deep learning algorithms, is to really mimic the brain, like neurons. And so it's used to model more complex data set, and that machine learning you're not able to do with machine learning algorithms. And then we have natural language processing, and that's where we're taking text data and we're interpreting it. We're getting understanding from the text. And then you have computer vision, and you have different, for example, facial recognition. If you didn't know, this like computer vision algorithms are actually behind facial recognition technologies. And then we have generative AI. And generative AI, is like, you have AI models, they create new content. So they're just generating new text and images. And so it's important to note, though, that generative AI is not just, you'd say, a pillar by itself. It relies on deep learning. It relies on natural language processing and even computer vision. So it's like what you call like the culmination of all of these different pillars or components of AI that are leveraged to produce generative AI. And so I wanted to share with you just this. You may have seen like this chart somewhere. And you can actually see where you have artificial intelligence being the bigger circle. And then within that, you have machine learning. And then it's like you're drilling a hole. And so the deeper you go, or an onion, let's look at it as an onion. And so you peel off the layers. And so you can use machine learning. Then you have deep learning, because the more complex the problem that we're solving, the deeper we're going to be going. And so you can look at this or interpret this chart that way. So the AI revolution, why does it matter? Well, one, we see it's based on all the news, everything's just changing so fast. Even if you've studied AI, you're practicing AI, the speed at which it's going, it's just so fast, you feel so overwhelmed. And so then these have implications for our lives because they're being leveraged. And once they're being leveraged, then they are implemented and then they impact us. And so it has transformative impact in terms of automating tasks, making predictions, and helping companies to make more real decisions in more real time based on the insights that they're getting from the data. Why it matters? It's because it's the transformative power in terms of accelerating data driven decision making, which as the technology improves and access to data also increases and the quality of the data also increases, companies are able to make better decisions and also make it faster. And so you also have, it speeds up innovation across industry because you're able to make decisions quicker. You're also able to do things quicker because one, you're also leveraging automation. And then it also offers new career opportunities. And so you'll see like different people leveraging or exploring different career paths. I was actually talking to one of my co-workers and he was mentioning how someone did English and he was like, why would you do English as a, what kind of job will you get with a degree in English? But now with AI, you can, it's very lucrative. So you'd say like areas where you think that under the life before AI, there was not much opportunity there. You now have like emerging opportunities. So that's why it really matters. The other thing is, I just wanted to share the AI landscape and the outlook. So based on data from Forbes Business Insight, in 2024, the AI market, it was estimated at 747.9 billion. And so by 2032, the expectation is that it will grow to 2.74 trillion. In terms of 2025, I think, my bad, I think I have some wrong numbers here. 2025, it is projected to be 747 billion. And we'll see the number in the chart later. But with respect to generative AI, which is really accelerating the pace of AI innovation, that expectation is that by 2029, it should hit around 98 billion. And in terms of what we are seeing so far, the North American market is leading in the AI innovation. And you see the Asia Pacific region also emerging. And you'd have heard about DeepSeek and how it's really, in Jamaican language would say it's giving ChatGPT a run for its money. So that's what's happening now. So we're seeing a lot of changes happening very quickly. And so this is just a chart in terms of the growth projections for the market. And you can see how it is expected to grow over the years. So this growth implies a lot of opportunities. And so it's important for us to ask ourselves, how do we fit within this growth trajectory? And this is just the projections for the generative AI market by 2029. But what are the underpinning drivers for the growth projection and the growth that we have seen so far? Well, one, we have the advancement in the computational power. We see where data is becoming more available, because one of the things that companies are recognizing, data is the new gold. And before, a lot of companies didn't really invest in their data and the data infrastructure. They didn't even have maybe like a proper data strategy. But now you see more and more companies investing in that because of the value that they realize that can be derived from leveraging the data, getting new insights into the data. And then you have governments also investing in AI research. You'd have heard in terms of the investment or the commitment from the Canadian government last year in terms of AI. And you have recently in the US, you hear about that, what do you call it? Stargate, I think that's what they call it, Stargate, with 500 billion in investment. And then you also have rapid digital transformation across industries. And so we see AI adoption increasing. And based on the data provided by Global Newswire, 55% of companies they survey are currently using AI. And in terms of certain industries that we know that are using it, we have finance industry, manufacturing, retail. In an article produced by Goldman Sachs on what to expect from AI in 2025, hybrid workers, robotics, expert models. Well, you're gonna have the new hybrid workforce, and the new hybrid workforce is where you're employing AI to work along your team members. You are also gonna see reskilling, because you're having managers, they have to reskill so that they can oversee both, not only just humans, but now they have to oversee AI, and that they call that human and machine resource. So it will no longer be human resources, but it's human and machine resources. Then you also have the emergence of expert AI, where you have like the integration of AI with proprietary data. And so you're going to create more specialized expert models. And that you'll see more of that as companies continue to invest in the quality of their data. Then you'll also see more robotic breakthroughs powered by AI. I saw this video a few weeks ago of a man going somewhere in a Waymo. He was a black man too. Going somewhere in a Waymo car. But then the Waymo car, I think he kept on going in circles, if I remember correctly. I was like, oh my God, I'm not sure if I'm really there yet in terms of trusting a self-driving car. But yeah, so we're going to see more of that. And one of the things with innovation is it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's not like a one and done thing. For example, like the glitch that Waymo experienced, they're going to fix it. Because as we mentioned, you're training the machines and the models to actually mimic human intelligence. So you're going to have the learning, you're going to have the reasoning, but you're also going to have the self-correction. So all of that, you're going to see that happening in terms of the model. And then you're going to see like regulations, they go from global to local, because you're going to see companies, they're now more focused on ensuring that the AI that they're developing, it's done in a responsible manner. And then we have large language model consolidation. And I guess you'll see that, for example, and I think maybe it has started with all of these open source, models, because look at how DeepSeek leverage open source information. Well, to this day, open source information, because now OpenAI is accusing, and Microsoft are accusing them of abusing their contract in terms of their access. So, but we're assuming it's all open source. So yeah, so you're gonna see all of that, because then you're like, right now, like I'm using ChatGPT, I use Gemini, I use Perplexity, I use Claude, and now I'm using DeepSeek. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be using, like that's like too much already.
I know, yes.
Yeah, so it's like too much. So eventually you'll see some consolidation, and especially where you see like where more work has proven that small language models are able to do not just what large language models are able to do, but even do it better. Yeah. So analytics, what is it? Well, it's that systematic, you'd say, way of just analyzing data, so that the whole objective of doing this is to uncover insights. What are the trends? What are the patterns? What can we get from the information we have, so that we can make better and more informed decisions? And one thing I just want to note is that companies are placing greater emphasis on making more data-informed decisions. And that's based on my experience working in RBC. Well, based on my experience, always informed decision, because my central banking background, everything has to be informed by data. But then you see companies where they may not have taken the data, so seriously. They're now making decisions that are based on data-driven insights. And so analytics, it helps companies to understand their past. They're able to manage the present, but they're also able to predict the future. Another Jamaican saying is that if you don't know where you're coming from, then you won't know where you're going. So companies need to be able to do that in order to get the insights, know what works for them, what doesn't work, and so strategize in terms of the plan forward. And leveraging analytics, and as we will see, especially AI-enabled analytics, will empower companies to do a better job. So the main form of analytics, we have descriptive, we have diagnostic, we have predictive, we have prescriptive. So the descriptive one tells us what happened. Diagnostic tells us why is it happening. The predictive is telling us what is likely to happen. And the prescriptive is what should be done. It's very important to know that, note that predictive analytics, it's very valuable for signaling, serving as a signal. So, people will say, oh, you're predicting, for example, you're trying to predict, like, it's very hard to predict stock price, but say stock price you're predicting, you're not predicting the exact stock price. You're predicting the direction and the signal. So it's the insight that you get from the signal that will help you to make your decision. So that is very important to note. And these are just some of the use cases where we see analytics being used, which I know is not foreign to you. So analytics trends, well, we have real-time analytics, we have predictive and prescriptive, we have edge analytics, where we're processing data on devices rather than in a centralized cloud. And then you have explainable AI, where the need to understand what's really going on under the hood is so important. And so we see a lot of that happening. And then you have AI and the Internet of Things convergence. So smart devices, they're generating massive data. And so with analytics and AI, a lot of insights can be gained from that. So business growth shift from traditional to AI-powered analytics. And I think that this is a section that really, we'd say, addresses the theme for tonight. How can we harness analytics for growth, for business growth? And so this is where we'll see some industry examples where you have AI-powered analytics versus a traditional analytics. So we see where AI transforms growth. So companies are no longer, I wouldn't say no longer, but they should be less reactive, but more proactive based on the insights that they're getting. And so it will help them to be more responsive to changes and to also make decisions quicker. And then you have the retail industry. Well, we see where on the traditional analytics, you have sales reports used for inventory and discounting strategies. Now you have all these AI-driven insights, the recommendation, for example, with respect to demand forecasting. So companies within the retail and e-commerce space, they're able to leverage AI analytics for this kind of insight. And the insights, as long as the data is good, the insights that you're getting from the AI-powered analytics it actually should supersede what you're getting from your traditional analytics. And then we have finance and banking. Well, one of the things that banks are plagued with, it's fraud detection. But when on the traditional analytics, they use rule-based approach for fraud detection. But now, by leveraging AI, they can use all these AI models to detect fraud and automate risk management, because then they're able to actually identify them before they're actually realized. So it helps with that risk management process. An experience I had late last year, which is the first time, was I got this notification. I have a CIBC credit card, and I got this email notification that seems like there is like a fraudulent transaction on my account. And based on when I checked it, I'm like, oh my God, it was like over $6,000. But then I'm like, when I checked my account now, I'm like, there were multiple other like charges on it, but you know, like 1,000 something. And I'm like, their system needs to be way better, because they should have picked it up at some point, but they need to like, I think that's like an opportunity to leverage AI and to just fine tune their models to pick up transactions like that. I know it won't be 100% accurate, and it won't be able to capture every single thing, but just to think about it from the perspective of the client, the loss that they can incur because of all of these fraudulent transactions. And then we have healthcare. So you used to have, like, as you know, the healthcare industry, it's a lot of data, a lot of paperwork, a lot of documents. And one of the things is that you don't really have like a lot of integration across like different healthcare practices. And so it's very segmented. And so this is an industry which is viewed as being ripe for AI innovation. And so in addition to making their processes more efficient in terms of ensuring that, for example, if you go to one doctor or one area of the hospital, you know, you should be able to, and if you go somewhere else, you should be able to get that, or the doctor is supposed to be able to access that information. So you will see a lot of work is being done there. There's also the opportunity in terms of predicting diseases or helping in terms of diagnosing diseases quicker. So that's an added benefit of leveraging AI within the healthcare industry. Then you have like manufacturing. For example, you have regular maintenance schedules, and they're just based on past data. Now you have predictive maintenance and prevention, like you can prevent breakdowns. For example, you're using the GPS is not really a good example, but say you're traveling, all right? And you know your GPS will tell you, oh, we're rerouting you because you have like a lot of traffic here. Companies are able to predict based on trends that they see, for example, in the logistics industry, certain risks, certain opportunities, and how they can actually optimize in light of what they're seeing and the constraints that they're facing. So with that, what are the business growth opportunities once you have more and more businesses shifting from traditional to AI-powered analytics? Well, we can look at like marketing strategies. You can look at that from any institution that where they have a client and they need to attract that client. How can they market to that client or clients, and how can they make those marketing strategies more personalized and more relevant to their clients? And so that comes into the whole customer engagement, because then they'll be able, based on the insights that they get from the data, which they weren't able to get from, say, the traditional analytics, then they'll be able to make or design better, you'd say, marketing strategy. They'll be able to have a better understanding of the customer segmentation. You have, for example, algorithms such as K-means clustering, where you can actually cluster based on you'll get insight into, okay, what categories or clusters your clients fall into. You have revenue optimization, growth opportunities there as well, risk mitigation, and operational efficiency. So these are some of them, not all, but as you can see here in terms of how traditional analytics versus AI, once companies move to a more AI-powered analytics, can enable companies to grow and operate more efficiently. So harnessing analytics with AI. Well, data is a backbone of business growth. And especially as markets become more competitive, companies need to understand how can they better distinguish themselves from their competitors. And so getting insights into that data will help them, because a company can spend, for example, if they're advertising, they can spend a lot of money doing the same thing, and it yields no return from that, or very little return. But then once they have deeper insights based on what the data is telling them, then they'll be able to actually make better and more informed decisions with respect to like their spend and other business decisions. And so organizations, when they leverage analytics, it helps them to act on the data. So one of the things that's very important, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't act on it, nothing will happen. It's like you have a seed. If you don't throw that seed into the soil, then it can't germinate. If you don't water it, the plant can't grow. So it's the same thing in terms of just leveraging data and analytics. You can get the data, you can have the best data, you can get insights, but if you don't do anything, then it's like it doesn't really make any sense. And then while traditional, as we saw before, you have traditional analytics, it helps companies to understand, okay, what's the past? And then you may have also leverage like your, statistical models, but they don't really tell you much relative to, like, if you were to leverage a machine learning model. You gain deeper insights that you may not have been able to derive from a statistical model. For example, machine learning models, they tend to like a lot of data. They can ingest a lot of data, especially when you leverage like deep learning models. Those models are, we call them data hungry. And so you get more data. Whereas if you were to do like use a statistical model, well, you have to think about all of these different constraints and how you have to make assumptions about the data. With respect to leveraging AI and machine learning models, you don't have to do that about the data. So that is one of the beauty of leveraging AI and machine learning models to get insights. And the last thing I want to say on this part is, I think I've said it before, when you leverage AI-powered analytics, companies, they're able to they can automate if they're not automating yet. They're able to make better predictions, and they can also optimize for future success, which is what is most important. So these are just some examples which we're familiar with in terms of companies that have been leveraging AI. There are many other companies, including RBC where I work, that's leveraging AI. And so you have Netflix, they're using recommendation systems to tailor content to you. Amazon does the same thing to you as well. So like companies where you have like in terms of retail and e-commerce, that's like a way that they're leveraging AI so that you can get tailored content that appeals to you. What appeals to me may not appeal to you, and so they're able. They didn't know that on the traditional analytics. They weren't leveraging AI. They may have known, but the extent to which they know today, they didn't know that before. And so you have Amazon. Well, they're also leveraging AI in terms of optimizing prices, in terms of the logistics at their warehouses, and they use AI like robotics in terms of like their warehouses as well. So that's another use case. And we know Tesla, they're using AI as well a lot, and Goldman Sachs, which is a financial institution. So with AI, by leveraging AI, we have seen where companies are able to do things better, operate more efficiently, and by doing that, they're positioning themselves for growth and to be even more competitive within the market relative to their peers who may not be leveraging AI. So why AI will continue to transform industries in 2025? Well, we have the data-driven decision making. That's so important. And as I mentioned, more and more companies are relying on data-driven insights so that they can make actionable decisions. And then you have automation of repetitive process. In my job, one of the things that we're building is a chatbot, because we have some processes where, like from an advisory perspective, where we get like a lot of questions on like our research papers and stuff, and like predictions and prescriptive treatments that we make. And so we find that that takes up a lot of our time. It's very distracting. And so how can you become more productive rather than just doing all of these busy work that do not really drive a lot of value? And then you have as I mentioned, personalization of consumer insights, predictive and prescriptive analytics. It's not just what to do, but what you can also do, or what will happen, but how you can do it. And in doing so, it should yield competitive advantage for companies. And so that's how we will see how AI is transforming industries. One of the things I was reflecting on is with respect to all of these chatbots and large language models. You have OpenAI, you have all of these other ones. But I'm like, Perplexity is in a class of its in it by itself. Why? It's just leveraging everybody's like large language models that they're producing. And you can go there and it taps into, prompt it, it asks all sort of different questions. So companies, you'll see companies evolve in terms of how can they gain that competitive advantage and not really compete in the noise, in the midst of the noise, and just set themselves apart. And so with the insights that they get from that, they will be able to do so. And in terms of the AI growth impact, I think I mentioned that already. So I think this is a duplication of my slide. But how can we harness analytics with AI? And what are the opportunities for women of African descent in tech? Well, one, you have this growing demand for diverse perspectives, because one of the things that, or the challenges with respect to the AI models is the bias. And so how can, in order to overcome the bias in these models, then we need diversity. And so diversity of thought, diversity from different backgrounds. So all of that will impact in terms of the AI evolution. And so as women, we can contribute to that, so that's very important. There are also entrepreneurial opportunities. And as I mentioned before, with respect to doing like a degree in English, now you can maybe develop your own business model based on something that you thought didn't have much value before this technology. So you'll have new entrepreneurial opportunities that that will emerge. And why allow the white man to target us? Why not us develop some solution to target our own people, so that we can also not only we can continue to build our community. As they say, oh, the Chinese and everybody, they buy from their own community, they spend their money in their own community. So we need to leverage this technology, jump on the bandwagon. Don't feel like you guys know what bandwagon means, or you've heard it before. Don't be a bandwagonist. It's like a bandwagon. Yeah. So yeah, this is no time for people to say, oh, you know, I don't want to do this or whatever. This is our time. And one of the I'd say great opportunities that AI has presented our community with is the fact that things are open, you know, this whole open source, the knowledge is made available. In terms of you can build, you can just go on Hugging Face, you can also just query ChatGPT or whichever one you want and ask it how to build something, you know? So it's helping to make life easier for us. And the excuses that we would have in the past, we might say we don't have access to this or we may not have access to that. But it's democratizing all of, like, for example, the information, some access to certain technology and tools. AI is enabling a lot of that. And so we should capitalize on that. Then you have like leadership roles. One opportunity here is about is AI governance and ethical AI. And so there are opportunities for us to speak up and even, you know, move into leadership roles, whatever. And leadership role doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in like a senior leader or whatever role, but you can be a leader in your own realm because of the contribution that you're making. And in terms of skill development, you know, one thing I view life as like this. Life is very dynamic. Every day it's always just changing. And I view life as, you know, the hamster on the wheel. And so if you don't keep up with that wheel, you know what's gonna, and you stop, the wheel keeps on going. So you know what's gonna happen to you, you get thrown off that wheel. We need to ensure that we're not thrown off that wheel. We keep going with the wheel. And so we need to invest in ourselves. This is a great opportunity where you're investing in yourself. But there are also different opportunities to invest in yourself and to upskill. You may say, oh, I don't know this, I may not know that, but start somewhere, you know, and when you start, it's going to feel so uncomfortable, you may not want to do it, but look at the, you know, the end in mind. What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to achieve? Let that be your motivation, because AI is not going anywhere. So in terms of career acceleration strategies, well, I think it's important to, now you don't have to, now you can do like, you have like no code and low code and stuff like that. So you don't even have an excuse. You can develop an app without even knowing how to code, all right? But say you really want to have a good understanding of what's really going on, and you want to create something for yourself or for somebody else, you want to develop this skill set so you can actually go and share it and build something for somebody within your community or even outside of your community. I'd recommend developing the technical skill sets. And well, a lot of coding is done in Python, some in R, but as you'll see, a lot of coding is done in Python, PyTorch. And then in terms of certification, I see on LinkedIn a lot of time, oh, Google has all these free courses. How much free courses? AWS has free. Everybody has free courses nowadays. We don't have any excuse in terms of educating ourselves. There are free courses, deep learning AI, they do like some short courses. So those are opportunities that we can capitalize on to empower ourselves so that we can contribute to this growth. And when I talk about growth, it's not just about us contributing to companies, it's about us contributing to ourselves or in terms of enriching our lives, enriching our community. So we have no excuse. And if we say we don't have time, we always have time. All right, we need to make sure that we're scheduling the time, you know, start with like small chunks of time and invest in ourselves. Networking, well, WinTECH is a great, you know, place where you guys can network, get to know people. You have also other different events that you can go. One thing I would like to note here is that when you're, especially if you don't have any background in AI, or you have no background in analytics, and you're just like a blank slate, just go. Go and be a blank slate, because everything after time, over time, you'll see that slate getting full, because then you're getting information. That information will eventually mean something to you. It's like learning a language, like a foreign language. The first time you hear it, nothing, I don't know what you're saying. All right. And you may hear it multiple times, still don't know, but your brain is actually registering. And then after a while, over time, it will make sense. So I'll encourage you to go to events. You have online events, you may have some in-person events. I'd recommend that. And if you're technical, you can do some hackathons. I think it was like in 2023, myself and two of my other friends, we did a hackathon, and it's Women in AI hackathon, and we came third. So try it, just do something, get out of your comfort zone, do something that will change your life and move your life forward, so that you're not on you're not like that hamster that got thrown off. And you have mentorship programs. Women in AI hackathon, no, Women in AI, they have mentorship programs. I'm not sure if you guys have mentorship programs, maybe you mentioned it. So join mentorship programs, and again, upskill. Too many courses, too many different platforms. And if you may say, oh, if the money, it costs money, think of the money, any money that you spend as an investment, because of the return that you'll get from it. And don't just get knowledge to sit on it. Get knowledge to gain understanding, so that you can use it, apply it, create something, add value to wherever you are, and share it. And in terms of just my conclusion and my call to action, it's just transforming industry. We can't stop it. It's like a moving train that's going so fast. It's either you're going to be there when it stops to pick you up, or you let it leave you. So we have to decide where we want to be when that train is passing or stop. Okay. And as I mentioned before, AI powered analytics, it makes organization, they're not just able to act faster with the insights that they're getting, the new insights, they're becoming smarter, and they're becoming even more competitive. So just think about it too, it's becoming competitive. What that means for some companies, they love to cut costs. When they cut costs, they cut people. So think about that too. Think about, if your back is against the wall, be resilient, where you can actually bounce off that wall and move on, because you would have upskilled, you would have invested in yourself. As I mentioned before, it's not like, as a Goldman Sachs article said, it's going to be human and machine resource. So it's no longer human resource, it's human and machine resource. And we're going to see more businesses invest, because they won't want to get left behind. They want to stay ahead. And if they're like, say, RBC likes to be the leader in everything, okay? And so you'll have like companies, more and more companies, they want to be the leader in this, or they want to just stay ahead. So you'll see more investment in AI. And so the AI revolution is not coming. It's already here, and it's accelerating. And so my question to you, are you ready? And I encourage you to be proactive with your learning, but not just your learning, your application. And one thing I want to just share before I close is how I have created my own opportunity to leverage AI to help the company I'm with, RBC, you'd say, to grow, to be more efficient. So after I finished I told you about why I wanted to do the AI Masters. I saw the opportunity where we deal with a lot of data, And we do a lot of modeling. We do a lot of research. We produce research papers, but the research papers, they have prescription in terms of how the bank should manage its what we call liquidity and funding risk exposures. Those prescriptive treatments, they impact the businesses within the bank, their profitability. So if you think about RBC's balance sheet, we have to do a risk modeling from a liquidity and funding risk perspective on all the balance sheet items, because at the end of the day, whatever environment the bank is in, it must be resilient. And so how can we enable the bank to be resilient? RBC dubs itself as an all-weather bank. So how can we help to maintain, that resilience? And so I did a master's because I knew I wanted to add value. And one of the things I also don't like doing is doing the same thing the same way year over year. I'm always thinking of adding value. And so how could I add greater value to what I was doing? How can I help, the wider corporate treasury to which I work within to be more efficient at what we do? And so I was like, this is what we're going to be doing, and I shared it with my manager. And the thing about it is that it's good when you have managers who support you, because then it will help in terms of realizing your dreams and your aspirations. And so I shared with him that this is what I want to do. He was very supportive, and all the managers, my VP and the EVP, they were also very supportive. And so now the work that we're doing is pioneering within corporate treasury. If you think about it, I'm a Black woman in corporate treasury. At RBC in corporate treasury, I was the only Black woman for many years until recently. I think there are only 2 of us now. But don't let you being a woman, don't let you being a Black person stop you from making your impact. Taking on that leadership role. And if you're even scared of doing it, do it scared just the same. Recently I went to my EVP, I'm like, that's like 3 levels above me, all right? I was like, we need to get more investment into this work. I was like, who should be the best advocate for this? Me, because this is my dream come into life. And I taught myself out of it. And then I went, okay. One morning I was like, what's the worst that can happen? If he tells me no, and if he's very harsh with me, I'm going to prepare myself for it and feel bad about it. But then I still did. I went and I'm like, can I have 2 minutes of your time? And I went and I spoke with him, and he was very receptive. So I just want to share that with you, and I hope it encourages you and inspire you to be that change. Take that, you don't have to be in a leadership role to have that impact, to have that influence in your workplace and in your community. I just say, go, as long as you're confident about what you're doing. You may not be 100% confident, but you must have some level of confidence and knowledge in what you're doing. But just go and do it. And I think I've said a lot of stuff and there. So yeah, so let's harness the power of AI to drive growth and create meaningful impact for our communities. And this inspirational quote from Eleanor Roosevelt is, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And so I encourage you to believe in your dream. And with that, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. And any questions?
Thank you so much, Nadine. Thank you so much. Round of applause from everyone, please. We want to see the reactions. Like this cannot go with silence. This cannot go with silence. There's so much that we have gained from this presentation. Thank you so much, Nadine. It was so insightful, and it really put into perspective what we have in front of us and, you know, the role that we have to play, not even, you know, apart from even just, for example, say the big picture is making an impact in the environment and in our workplace or where we find ourselves. But the number one thing is, how do we as people even, you know, adopt and improve our skills to be relevant in this AI revolution? Is really important. That. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nadine. And please, if there's any questions that we have, you know, please bring it on. This is a good opportunity, you know, to get more insights and to organize your thoughts. And like we say, you know, ginger yourself to just take the next step, honestly, because it is really important. Like you said, AI is not coming. AI is here. And it is accelerating. So it's not even in one place, like it's here. Okay, it's here waiting for you to wake up and say, okay, should I join the bandwagon or not? No, it's accelerating and it's leaving you behind if you're not ready. So this is really important to all of us. And so many impactful words that you have said today that will stay with all of us. Thank you so much, Nadine. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time. Appreciate your, you know, everything you've shared with us with so much experience that you have. Well done. Thank you so much. So if we have any questions, anything that has to do with, for example, okay, this, you said it's a blank slate. Where would you recommend we start from? Okay, there's so many courses, there's so many things, AI, machine learning, this and that, you know, how do we just, you know, how do we begin, maybe?
All right. So are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. So when I decide, all right, so this is what I was doing before, all right? I was going on YouTube, watching all those YouTube videos because I'm like, I need to learn how to code in Python and stuff like that. So I started with Python, all right? That's where I started. I need to learn how to code in Python, and I used to do stuff, but you know, I wasn't very consistent. And so I know what works best for me, and it's structure. Like we're held accountable. And I was like, I need to do something. I need to enroll in a program. And that's what I did. All right. So, and the first thing I'd say, know yourself. All right. Know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Because if it don't work for you, don't bother go there. All right. Don't bother try it.
Exactly.
Because you're going to get so frustrated, you're going to give up, and you just won't bother. So know what works for you. In terms, so say for instance, you want to do a course online. Well, I've never done any of those Google courses. I've done like the deep learning AI course. I've done, but it comes back to what you want to do. All right. Do you want to learn how to code? If you want to learn to code, you need to look for courses on that. All right.
Yeah.
If you want to learn something about risk management in AI, focus on that. All right? Because then you don't necessarily have to be that technical, but having some technical understanding of what's going on is really important. So like I find like deep learning AI courses, that's like those are good courses. I also did like a Udemy course. It's called, I think it's from Zero to Hero in Python. So and I also did like just search on the internet for materials that I could read. And remember, guys, this was before ChatGPT. All right. But when I was doing the program, ChatGPT came out in 2023. 2023 or 2022. I can't remember. Whenever it came out, I was doing the program. So that was like a great time, you know, to be learning AI and seeing this whole transformation. So yeah, so that's what I'll say in terms of where to start. First, identify what works for you. If you think it's a YouTube, if it's YouTube University, go ahead. You have so many different, but if you think you want something free, you have a lot of free courses available. So, and also start small. And don't try and eat the pie whole. I don't know if anybody who's ever eaten a pie whole. So cut it in slices, all right?
Yes.
And just start in terms of where you want to start. And the most important thing, I don't think there's any perfect way to start or perfect place to start. Just start with what interests you most, I think. And then you continue to just build on that. But the most important thing is to stay consistent. You're not gonna understand everything. You're gonna get frustrated. But you know, if you don't have access to somebody, well, you have access to ChatGPT, Gemini, and all of those things. They're not like my consultants, you know. So
for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nadine. Anybody else has any other question or maybe comments that you want to make?
Yeah, you can also use the reaction button if you want to talk.
I have.
And I can see some chat on some questions on the chat too. So maybe when you're done with the people that raise their hand, we can
go to the chat. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with Annette Muhoro. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Annette, you're muted.
You're still muted, Annette.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
Good.
Annette, say thank you first because it has been insightful. I have learned much. I only wanted to ask because I'm having a change in career. What I'm studying right now is something I haven't done before. And my question is, like, when you get to do these programs, when you get to study these programs, is there a challenge when you try to look for internship positions so that you can at least practice what you learned as you're doing the program? As in, would you give me a guidance on that? Because sometimes it feels overwhelming.
Yeah. I think it depends on the program. What program are you doing?
I'm doing a data analytics course.
Oh, well, well, the internships that I'm aware of, you have to apply for them. Like banks, they offer internships, but they're targeted to different people. So if you're doing a first degree, you have like internship for that. If you're in a master's program, internship for that. I know Vector Institute, they also have internship programs. I'm not really familiar with like other internship programs, but those are the ones that come to my mind. But any internship that I'm aware of, usually it's either posted as like job opportunities, because we actually have, like, one of my team members started as an intern, and we have to post a job. They have to apply. And then the other thing as well, you may have schools that have like co-op opportunities or like internship, and they have their programs where you could actually go through their, I think it's like career services, and then they have some connections with the university, like institutions. So that's also another option, but I'm not aware, unless other people on this Zoom call are aware of different opportunities.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and the other thing, if you can't find an internship and you're able to volunteer, don't exclude volunteering.
For sure, that's true. And also the hackathons too. We can apply to join that as well. Yes. I know that I see some places online where you can just access projects that you can do, and I don't know how useful they are, but you can do that.
They are very useful. So you have like Kaggle, like you have Zindi. They have projects that you can get where you say you build your data analytics and data science portfolio. So you can also leverage that. But so that's even somewhere where you start in terms of how you build that portfolio that you can incorporate on your resume, so that it gives you an edge. It makes you more appealing when you're applying for internship. But I should say congratulations on your plans to do your career change.
Sure.
Thank you.
You can change your career at any point in time, guys. One, I just want to share, yesterday I was on the train going to work, and this guy was on the train, seems a little mentally unstable, but what he was saying, talking to himself, like makes sense. That a lot of you guys on this train, you don't even like your work, you know, and you have to go to your, that's like a lot of people, right? So if you don't like your work, and and there is an opportunity for you to do a career change, and especially to do something that you really like, I recommend that you do that. You know, you can make that transition. People transition and change careers at different ages. You're never too young, never too old to make a career change. But as long as you have a plan, you can set a plan and you can proceed.
Got it. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Nadine. And then we have one more from Joy Yunusa.
Before Joy go, can we take one from the chat? So Adam, I'm going to help you. Thompson is asking, so can one now use a copy of the free AI source code from DeepSeek to develop their own AI model to satisfy a particular niche market as a business opportunity?
You can leverage different models. Like I would recommend that you can leverage, okay, what DeepSeek has, but what is it that you want to build? You know, you have to determine what you want to build. You can't just take information and say, oh, this is going to work every way. So you need to determine what you want to build. And I would recommend leveraging the different open source models that are available. There are different research papers that are also that accompany some of them. So getting insights and understanding of, you know, how did they arrive at the model? You know, what are the features? How did they do the fine tuning of the model? How did they train the model? Like a lot of things go there. So yeah, I'd say leverage different ones in order to make your pizza. You know, it's like a pizza, you're making different ingredients on it. So make the best pizza model out of leverage it.
Sure.
Because I'm sure DeepSeek didn't only leverage OpenAI's insight. They continue to build and just refine.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so can we take Joy Yunusa now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so very much, Nadine. And I want to appreciate WinTECH for bringing you up on here to speak to us, you know. And I sincerely, you're a soul of inspiration. You inspired hope in me, and I'm sure to everyone here. And I love the fact that I see the passion and the energy, you know, in your career, I mean, that you're showing. And thank you for making me know that there is no stopping me. And I mean, possibilities abound everywhere. And, you know, the fact that there are robotics here, now that we have human resource and machine, I mean, human and machine resource, and not just human resources alone now, it's still, it's really not scary. It's a whole lot of opportunity out there. And what you're telling me is, what I invest, when I invest in myself, what I do with me will determine how far I go. And I appreciate you for that. Thank you so very much. And it goes to say that there is really no heights we can climb. It has nothing to do with our color. It's just a mindset and a mind shift. And I appreciate you for that. And one of the questions, I have a question for you, Nadine. Could you please tell us, did you, in the course of your career, were there challenges you had to face as a woman and a woman of color in attaining, you know, attaining the position you're in? And aside that, are there challenges you also faced? I'm not too sure if you started tech from the beginning of your career or it was a career transition for you, but were there challenges you had to deal with and put aside just so you achieve the goal, your career aspiration? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy, for your question and your commendation. There's no life. I don't know, unless there is somebody else here, but I don't know whose life don't have challenges. But yes, yes, very there are a lot of challenges and different challenges in different ways. But one, coming from Jamaica, you know, this thing about diversity and inclusion and women in leadership roles, and like we don't really have that problem in Jamaica. You see women in leadership roles in Jamaica. And so coming to Canada, which I came here in 2016 with my family, that's when like certain things like became real, you know, like racism, because now you're living it, you know. It's not like you're traveling and yeah, you may experience something and you think it's racism, but then you have to live this and then you hear it all around you. So yeah, so while I have not experienced covert racism, not covert, overt racism, I believe I've experienced covert racism. All right. But one of the things I say to myself is, you know what? You feel away some, you know, but I don't let that stop me, you know. So that's one of the things, I don't let it stop me. It's like, I let it be like, I don't know if this is like something familiar to you guys, but in Jamaica, it says like water off duck's back. So yes, so we try, you know, I try to do that, you know. And if I feel bad, I give myself 2 days to feel bad. Voila, and then I get up and move on. So coming in and working in RBC's corporate treasury, it's, as if you think about any bank's corporate treasury, that's like the oldest, one of the oldest areas of a bank, because it's the treasury, it's like the heart of the bank. And so it's a lot of males, you know, and you don't really see like a lot of women in leadership roles there. So one of the things also that I experienced earlier on was, you know, it's like people try to dismiss you, you know, and they try to, I don't know if you guys use this language as well, slight you. Yes, you know, and I'm telling you, you feel bad and you feel sad about it, especially if it's something that happens a number of times. But one of the things that I am confident in is in myself and my capabilities and the value that I bring. And when I joined RBC, it wasn't in corporate treasury. I actually joined RBC as a contractor, covering someone you know, who went on maternity leave. I was in their global compliance area. And that's where I think I really experienced like some really, like, I'd say it's racism there. That I remember even like when my husband used, like, he picked me up from work, I cried, you know, about it and stuff. But you know, that was one of my experiences. And now coming into corporate treasury and a lot of males, yeah, you know, alpha males, big egos and stuff like that. But I was confident in my capabilities. Coming from Jamaica, I don't know, but we're proud people. They say Nigerians are proud people too, but we are very proud. You know, we're very proud, and we are, you know, yes, one of the things is when I joined RBC, I said, you know, this may be the first time, you know, these people are working with a Black person, but the impact that I plan to leave or make on these people, it should be positive so that it paves the way for other people of by, you know, Black people. And that is something that I try to carry out through wherever I go. When I went to corporate treasury, I knew what I knew, because you talk about, as I tell you, you know, a data-driven decision. If I say something to you, you know that I am informed. Whatever I'm saying is well informed. I'm not just going to come and talk for just talking. See, it's well informed. And so even when I'm challenged, and I tell you, I feel bad, I still, you know, still make my point. You know, I'm not going to go and, you know, be combative with people, but I still make my point. And especially if it's a point that is relevant, it will put the organization in a better position. I'm going to stick by it. And it has proven like really good results over the years. One other thing I say to myself, positive self-talk is very important. One other thing I say to myself is, you don't have to like me, you don't have to love me, but you'll respect me because of the value that I bring and because of how I conduct myself. And so those are the things that help me to overcome my like challenges that I may face. I have like question how like, you know, people get promoted over me. And those things hurt, you know, and you can feel depressed about it too, you know, but don't go into deep depression, you know, it's not worth it. And so those are some of the things that I use. And if you have somebody who you can talk to those person. But most importantly, I'll encourage you to equip yourself, you know, so that when people question the value that you bring, whatever you're sharing, it's actually solid. All right. And so I'll stop at that. The other thing you had asked is, how did I move into this whole tech space? And for me, going back, I was an economist, you know, so we do modeling, yeah, and all of this AI stuff is all modeling. You know, they talk about, oh, you know, they talk about data science, and I'm like, are they talking about economics or like they are data science and big data? And I'm like, we work with big data, you know. So I had like that foundation in terms of just modeling and stuff, and so I use that as my opportunity to build. So I look at it as building. You know, it's like it's cumulative and complementary knowledge and skill sets. You know, so you may think, oh, I don't have this and I can't, you know, go into AI or tech because of that. Look at do an inventory of your knowledge, skill sets, your your education, and see what is it that you can start with. Even if it is something very small, and then you just continue to build, because it's all a growth process and you won't know everything. When I was going through the master's program, I didn't know everything, but I learned, you know, and I leveraged my peers as well. And so that's what I'd encourage you to do as well. I hope I answered your question. It was very long.
Thank you so much.
Amazing, Nadine. You know, one thing, when you mentioned, there's something you mentioned that I wanted to point out, and you said, do not allow anything to stop you, you know? And again, you have to equip yourself. I'm saying this for everyone that is watching today. Even if you didn't go home with anything, but at least have that one thing or two that you can say, hey, this is my point. This is what I'm living here with. You know, try as much as you can, wherever you find yourself. You know, the tech world is currently evolving. You cannot stay where you are currently. You have to keep on learning, right? And when you have the opportunity, please go in, try as much as you can, equip yourself. And again, the sky is your stepping stone. Thank you so much, Nadine. I really appreciate those words of encouragement. It goes a long way. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nadine. I'm speechless, to be honest. It was really, really insightful. And you know, like what you said, everything all goes back to skilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you to stand out, for you to add value, you have to have the value first. And how do you get that value? By learning, by skilling,
Sure.
you know. And to be honest, when you know something, that's another level of confidence that gets you into the room. So
Absolutely.
if like we have said again, if there's anything we're going to take out of this session today is skill, learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that with that, you have a foot in the door. And anybody will listen to you if you know what you're saying, black or white, red or blue, you know, whoever you are, as long as you have value bringing to the table, anybody would listen to you. On that note, we would like to say thank you so much, Nadine, for, you know, spending time with us this evening. And I really did observe how, you know, passionate and comfortable you were to just share your experiences with no boundaries. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming here. And we promise you that we will put everything that you have told us into practice. We will put everything we told you into practice. And to everybody that has, you know, spent time to join this call, we do appreciate you, because this call would not be what it is without, you know, everybody that has come to spend time. We see that people actually have stayed till the end. which is to tell you the impact that we have had this evening. Thank you so much, everyone. We have put some useful links in the chat. If you want, again, you can always reach out to any of us. If you want to join the community, if you need any help, if you have any questions with regards to, you know, navigating this terrain, especially when it comes to this AI thing or anything tech related, please reach out to the WinTECH team and we will be more than happy to help and to support, just like what WinTECH stands for. We want to be a community where everybody's welcome, you know, to be vulnerable, to you know, to share their experiences and grow in the process. That's what we want to do, and that's what we want to achieve. Thank you, everybody. Good evening. It's been a long one, but really, we didn't feel the time we spent here, to be honest. We didn't feel it. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nadine, again. Thank you. Thank you. I can't stop saying thank you, but
yeah, thank you, everyone, for
yes.
joining. And thank you, Nadine. Thank you so much.
Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, everyone.